going on? This is the Bottom Line Podcast presented by Anchor.fm, your home for sports and entertainment talk. Jimmy Finizzi, Neil Piano, Austin Myers with you. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to take a listen. We truly appreciate it. You already know what it is. Hit us up on all social media at Bottomline WMCX. That means Twitter, Facebook, and yes, I have resurrected the Bottom Line Facebook page. It is back. It is up and running. Go follow the Facebook page, facebook.com/bottomline.
Don't forget the Reddit.
Wait, what's that, Austin?
Don't forget the Reddit.
Oh, yes. Austin made us a Reddit as well. So if you're interested, go follow us on Reddit, the Bottom Line Podcast. Austin I'm sure will share the link on social media for you. But in any case, be sure to follow these guys as well. Follow Neil on social media at the NVP Show on Twitter and on Instagram at NVPQB11. And also Austin as well at the Mr. Taco BLP, both on Twitter and Instagram. Gentlemen, how the heck are we doing today?
I mean, ask Austin first, because, I'd like to know how he's doing right now.
What's good with you, Austin?
It's another day.
I know exactly why you're saying that, but Neil, how are you, man?
Well, I'm just happy that once again Vegas choked. It sucks to suck.
Yeah, you know a lot about sucking, don't you, Neil?
Yeah, I do. I do. But you know what? At least I admit it. At least I admit it. And you know what? You know what else? At least I didn't get a championship team presented to me and still didn't find a way to win. So I'll look at that as well. By the way, I'm so glad that, of all the places to put a hockey team, Vegas, who definitely knows about taking gambles, has taken several gambles and, of course, hasn't worked out. Welcome to the NHL, Vegas. Continue to enjoy the success, because once you hit rock bottom, it's going to take you a while to get back up. Just let you know that.
And it ain't going to be pretty either.
No. And to be honest with you, that organization deserves it, because they've been handed every single thing that one could a franchise goaltender, franchise scoring players. Were able to somehow rig the system so that they can sign the top defenseman in the free agency market for maxed value in a flat cap era, and they still couldn't get it done.
Yep.
And for them to lose in the third round to an Eastern Conference inferior Montreal Canadiens team who have not even been to the Cup Finals since 1993 is just hilarious to me. So,
and might I add,
so much pleasure in seeing Vegas continuing to shit bricks. Awesome.
And might I add, a Canadian team that barely squeaked into the playoffs.
Got this.
And there you go. If you're not watching on YouTube, Neil and Austin are sporting the Stanley Cup Finals. Meanwhile, I'm sporting the team that didn't even make the damn playoffs. But you know what? I don't care. It's a hockey shirt. I'm proud of it. We're talking hockey. So let's get right into it. But before we go any further,
we're talking hockey. I thought today was the motorsports episode. I put the Viagra flag up for a reason.
Wrong podcast, Austin. But anyway, before we go any further, make sure you subscribe on all audio listening platforms as well as on YouTube. Just include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. And on YouTube, click that notification bell so you do not miss a single video that is uploaded every single week. So we have our matchup, ladies and gentlemen, and it's probably one that you didn't expect. Well, maybe one team. The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Team, probably.
Well, yeah, one team. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who are trying to repeat as Cup champions, and the Montreal Canadiens, who, as Neil said, have not even sniffed a Cup final, let alone a Stanley Cup, since 1993. And this is also the first time a Canadian team has been to a Cup final in 10 years, when it was who? The Vancouver Canucks against the Boston Bruins. And what happened? The Boston Bruins won the Stanley Cup. But Vancouver was a special team that year. It's a shame they didn't win it all, but you know what? Hey, Boston was the more superior team. I got nothing more to say there, but it's the first time a Canadian team is in the Cup final in 10 years, which is very, very exciting for that country. But I got to be honest, gentlemen, I love these finals. Absolutely love them. We were talking about this a little bit off the air before we started recording this episode, as we are recording this on June 28th, 2021, the day in which the Cup finals start, which is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time on NBC SN before they move over to TNT and ESPN. You know, the big boys, they're moving up in the world. But Anyway, but I love these finals for a couple of reasons. Number one, like I mentioned before, first time a Canadian team has been in the finals in quite a while, in 10 years. And the Montreal Canadiens, last time they won a Stanley Cup was 1993 when Patrick Waugh was their goaltender. So, and this Canadiens team, by the way.
Yeah, the third best goaltender in NHL history.
Yes, Neil, you are right. Patrick Waugh, one of the best of all time. Absolutely no question about it.
But he's not the best.
Well, no, he's not.
But he's not the best.
But he's not the best.
No, he's
not. What Carey Price has done this year, holy crap. He is something special. He's 36, I might add. Okay? And this is probably one of the best. This is probably one of the best goaltender performances that we have seen in these playoffs. One of them. Because there have been plenty of other great goaltending performances.
No, it's
Carey
probably
Price
the best.
Is just something to behold here.
I Carey Price, time to shit the bed like you usually do.
God, Austin. But anyway.
Well, you're hearing these are words of a very salty Vegas Golden Knights fan.
Yeah,
so I mean,
I was just gonna say.
You know what, Austin? Go join the Jets and the Maple Leafs in your sorrow.
Oh, ouch. Anyway,
I cried double now.
Before more fire was thrown. But yes, I like it because the Canadiens, who barely squeaked into the playoffs, by the way, now they're here. If they don't win it all, I mean, my goodness. I mean, what the hell are we going to be saying about this team? But we'll get to that.
That they're an up-and-coming team and the best is yet to come. That's what we're going to be saying about Montreal.
True.
You have to understand that, like, 3 years ago, Montreal was not that good. They had just traded away PK Subban. Nobody really knew where exactly they were going. Everybody wanted Marc Bergevin fired. And then over the last couple of years, he has been able to build a team that, for once, doesn't have to rely 99.9% of the time on Carey Price. Now,
you're right.
You can make the argument that Carey Price has had plenty of games in this postseason where he was the biggest reason that they won. There is no question about it.
Right.
But there have been plenty of moments where there are other guys in this team that have stepped up, a.k.a. Cole Caulfield, who came to the NHL very similarly to how Cale Makar came in when he was a rookie. Came right in, his first 2 games in the NHL, both of them overtime game-winning goals, and he has not looked back ever since. He has been on fire. He's been doing tremendously. But the number one guy, and I know that obviously Austin's not going to want to hear this, but is a player that the Golden Knights just so happened to trade away.
Nick
Suzuki. And by the way, don't we find it absolutely delicious that Max Pacioretty, who has never been in the Cup final and never really gotten close, got eliminated by his own team in the playoffs. I mean, I find it absolutely delicious. Nick Suzuki is a phenomenal player, and it's incredible to see what he's been doing. And you look at some other guys, Josh Anderson, who we all criticize for the contract that Montreal gave him. I thought it was ludicrous considering he's an injury-prone player. I said, Jesus, Marc Bergevin, what's going on, man?
Right.
But it's at least this year, it's proven to be a very, very good addition to this team. And obviously this guy's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Joel Armia has been very, very good as well. It's just unfortunate that he's on the COVID list. Oh, and let's remind this as well. The Montreal Canadiens won that entire series against Vegas without their head coach, who was on the COVID list. And he won't even be coaching the first 2 games, at least, of the Stanley Cup final. If Montreal is able to somehow go all the way and win the Cup, this is the most incredible run in Montreal Canadiens history. This is better than 1993. In 93,
even better than 71?
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
Goodness.
Because nobody expected Montreal to even make the playoffs, let alone be in the Cup final.
That is true.
And if it wasn't for Calgary losing 6 of their last 7 games in the regular season, Montreal would be just like all of us, sitting at home watching the Stanley Cup final. That's really what it is. But
Calgary failed.
Exactly. And look at Montreal. Look at how they built off of last year. Nobody thought that they were going to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. I certainly thought they were going to, and they won in 5 or 4. Right. I forgot how much it was.
It was
but
5.
They won that series, and they went the distance with the Flyers. They nearly went to the conference finals, at least the second round, or the third round of the bubble, because they decided to have an extra round of the playoffs in the bubble. This was a team that was clearly on the rise. And this year, They got off to a shaky start. They fired Claude Julien. They brought in their assistant head coach on an interim basis, mind you. And I'm pretty sure that he's going to become the head coach after this year.
Yep.
There's no question about it.
But whether they win the cup or not, he's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think 100%. I don't think that they want to shake anything up. And it just shows that the Montreal Canadiens are a team that when you have the juju going, there isn't much you can really do to stop it. And if they don't have it going on in the finals, they're not going to have much success against this Tampa team. But if they have it going continuously in the Cup final, no matter how good Tampa really is, the Lightning do not have a prayer of winning the series. They don't, because it's just going to be like that. And once Carey Price gets settled in, and believe me, he'll get settled in, it's going to be very, very difficult for that Tampa Bay Lightning team. And mind you, this is a Tampa Bay Lightning team that is blatantly cheated. I mean, you got to call it like it is. $14 million over the salary cap, and they're somehow allowed to play in the playoffs because they found a loophole in the NHL rules that allowed them to have Nikita Kucherov on the IL literally the whole year, and then when the playoffs started, he's allowed to play even though they were well over the salary cap. So, this is a final that has a lot of different storylines. The biggest one to me, though, is that Carey Price has an opportunity to finally win a Stanley Cup.
Yes.
And if he's already a Hall of Famer, but he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, no questions asked, if he wins a Stanley Cup. And he will go down as one of the greatest goaltenders in Montreal Canadiens history. He's certainly not at the level of Patrick Waugh or even Ken Dryden, but he certainly would end up being possibly the third greatest goaltender in Montreal Canadiens history. And the fact that this man, who came from such a very, very tiny, minuscule town in Canada and is one of the biggest names in hockey and has been one of the best goaltenders of this generation, for him to finally get an opportunity to do this is phenomenal. And he's 4 wins away from doing something that a lot of us thought was never possible for Carey Price, certainly in Montreal. So this is going to be a lot of fun to see. Austin is just very, very salty right now, constantly shaking his head.
Yeah,
Vegas doesn't.
Austin,
and once again, Vegas doesn't deserve anything. They don't deserve a team. They don't deserve to win anything. And I'm glad that they're not in the final because they flat out do not deserve it.
Yeah, Austin, you're just like, I want no part of these finals. But explain to us before I go on here. Explain to us why you do not like these finals. Please explain yourself, sir.
Do I have to?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Please explain why you do not like these Stanley Cup finals this year. Please.
Well, I mean, it's the Canadiens. You see my issue with them.
You're still just salty about what happens.
It hurts. And then Tampa, it's just like, I just haven't liked them. Like, there's a few players that I could stand with them, but Tampa's just,
I mean, you know what? That explanation is better than none at all. I'll take it.
Because we all know it should. We all know. Realistically, it should have been Vegas and Tampa.
Well,
because Montreal shouldn't have even been in our division.
I mean,
they weren't in your division.
They weren't.
What are you talking about? They weren't.
They
weren't in your division.
Let's think about it this way, though.
They were in the Scotia North, for crying out loud. Come on.
Let's think about it this way, though. If this was a regular season and we didn't have
go.
all this division,
oh my God!
Just tune him out. He's just complaining because he's upset that the NHL didn't rig it again in their favor. And you know what?
It's okay. We'll come back swinging next year.
No, you won't.
I'm not concerned.
Well, let me say this,
Austin.
I'll say it again.
When we had the Slapshot Sweethearts hunt several weeks ago, we were previewing the playoffs. You said it yourself.
If they don't get it done this year, they are screwed.
Yeah, we all said it. We all said it. I said if they don't win it this year or next year, they're screwed. Period.
And I told you that if they don't win it this year, they're screwed. Because guess what? Despite the fact that, mind you, they don't have to be involved in the expansion draft because, they're an expansion team, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
excuse my language, which is bullshit.
No, it is.
For a while now. But you know what? There's a flat cap for the next 4 years. Good luck trying to keep all the players that you have that are in their mid to late 30s.
Yep.
And you know what? Vegas fans have to experience the frustration that every single franchise in the NHL has dealt with at one point or other. Being embarrassed, having opportunities, and not getting them done. Yep. And nobody just gets a cup walking in as the new kids on the block.
That's how our 5 years of this team has gone.
Right. You haven't even experienced missing the playoffs. You haven't even experienced missing the playoffs.
Year one, we make it all the way. We get embarrassed by Ovi.
The Capitals.
We got embarrassed by Ovi single-handedly. Year two. What did happen year two?
San Jose.
Yeah, San Jose bounced you out. After you had a 3-1 series lead, and you had a lead in Game 7 and also blew it.
Exactly, the 5-minute major.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Year three was the bubble.
Lost to Dallas. Not only did they lose to Dallas, they lost in 5.
We lost the 5 to Dallas.
Exactly. They were so outplayed. It was a joke.
This year we make the conference finals again. Get bounced out by Montreal. It's how it's working.
And there will eventually be a point where Vegas will not be good enough to even make the playoffs, and then they will know how it feels.
Exactly.
And I said it to you guys off air. I expected Vegas to lose. That was the thing. Yes, I told you guys that night. I said Vegas is going to lose.
Oh wait, actually, I do remember you saying that. Yes,
I had said it, and I'm like, I knew it was coming. It was just the way it happened didn't feel right.
Right? Yeah. No, that's fair.
Overtime loss coming out of the net to try and beat the play didn't feel right.
No, that's a fair point you make. And look, I get it. You're upset. Hey, it's okay to be upset, but there's no need to be this salty. Come on. But anyway, though, in all seriousness,
like I said, I'm here rooting for Tampa because they got Pat Maroon. Pat Maroon's going 3 in a row. Come on, Pat Maroon.
That'll be something for his career. I'll tell you that. And speaking of which, let's get the Tampa's point of view here for the finals. We already discussed enough about the Canadians. We all know what great of a story they have been this season. But for Tampa Bay, listen, say what you want about them cheating. Take the cheating out of it. If they have a chance to repeat as Stanley Cup champions this year, think about what that means for that organization, given the fact that we've been calling them choke artists, for the past how many years, and after them getting absolutely embarrassed back in 2019 by an 8-seeded Columbus Blue Jackets team, who, by the way, swept them in 4 games.
Time out. There's an answer to how they're winning this year.
Is there though? What's the answer?
Stamkos and Kucherov.
Oh my God.
And Vasilevsky.
Well, look, hey, listen, I'll tell you what. You may say that, but what have we said about the Edmonton Oilers? They have 2 terrific hockey players in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They are not a good hockey team.
You understand the difference between Draisaitl, McDavid, and the Stamkos Kucherov? Stamkos and Kucherov hardly missed their shots.
I get that, but my point is, it can't just be 2 people. It's got to be a full team effort here. Everybody's got to step it up. Not just those 2 players.
Kucherov and Stamkos. We've seen other people like Palat and Point step their game up this season. Like, no one expected Braden Point to really kick it into gear like he did.
I totally get that. But
what are you smoking? What? You mean to tell me that nobody saw that Braden Point was going to have the season that he did? I fully expected it. The way he played last year in the playoffs and the way that he finished the year, he's clearly a guy that is on the rise to be one of the top players in the league.
Braden Point's been on fire these playoffs.
But you guys are acting like you didn't expect it.
I'm saying
you just said that.
I expected it, absolutely.
No, you didn't. You just said a second ago that you didn't expect it.
I was reacting to what Austin said. I wasn't reacting to you.
Beginning of the year, Braden Point started off very slow. So everybody had thought, oh, he's not really going to do much this year. And here he was coming into the playoffs, just fucking hammered down.
And it doesn't surprise me because he's honestly their best player right now.
No, he is. He's
very solid.
He's their best player. But
no question.
Like I said before, Jimmy wants to throw out the cheating. I don't want to throw it out because the reality is that it's true. The reality is that you want to talk about trying to be fair, right? And we obviously know that in sports, nothing is fair. We've seen that in every sport that we can think of. Because, it's like the old saying goes, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Like, let's just call it like it is.
Right.
We knew that going into this offseason that Tampa was going to have some trouble finding a way to keep a lot of their talent. We thought that Mikhail Sergachev was definitely gone. And they somehow were able to keep him. And then you look at Kucherov. He had to get surgery before the season began. And Tampa was already over the salary cap. And they somehow were still okay to play once he started. Oh, and then they traded for Savard. To put them even more over the salary cap. And the NHL clearly didn't do anything. They didn't try to do anything. Why should they? Why should they? And the issue is simply this. When you look at the first round against Florida, there were some people, including myself, that felt like Florida was capable of knocking them off. And honestly, there were some moments where it looked like that. Because Tampa did not look comfortable.
Yeah.
And then I forgot who they played. They played Carolina in the second round. Yes. And Carolina was there's just no match. They still need help goaltending wise. Now, maybe they figured it out with Nedeljkovic, but they still need to have a good backup behind him.
Backup for him, yeah.
We'll see what they want to do with that. And then you go into the conference finals, and again, you're facing the New York Islanders. And
the Islanders just about knocked them off.
The Islanders should have knocked them off.
They were this close.
Knocked them off.
They were one game away from having a Stanley Cup final in Nassau. Imagine the crowd there if that was possible. Are you kidding me?
But the reality is that you also do have to give credit to an extent where credit is due. This is a very talented Tampa Bay Lightning team.
Yes.
This is the closest that we have to a super team. If you really, really want to look at it, it's about the closest that we can get in the NHL comparatively to what you see in the NBA. This is the closest you're going to get because you have Kucherov, Stamkos, Braden Point, Palat, Victor Hedman. You even have Ryan McDonough, who's been playing very well since he got to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he has.
And you have Andrei Vasilevsky, who's one of the top 3 goaltenders in the NHL right now. And you also have John Cooper, who's a very, very good head coach. Very, very good.
Yep.
So they have a very deep team. And they have one of the scariest third lines I've ever seen. You know, with the likes of Blake Coleman, who really has taken his game to another level and should get between $6-7 million on his next contract during this offseason. And I fully expect it to be from the Dallas Stars.
I'm with you.
I fully expect 100%. It to be Dallas. But I will just say this for Tampa Bay's perspective. They got to, you know, whether they win the cup or not, the reality is that this may be, or even possibly next year might be the last chance that they have with this group. Because eventually they're going to have to move people. They have to. They have no choice. Financially, they have no choice. Now, they'll lose probably a contract like Tyler Johnson in the expansion draft, which, I mean, I don't think that they're going to care about that. But eventually they're going to have to make moves just to be in salary cap situation because the NHL is not going to allow this to continue. But when you look at this final coming up, I think the Canadiens and Lightning met in the playoffs, I want to say 3-4 years ago, and the Lightning beat them in 4 or 5. Like, they just dominated them.
Yep.
But the Montreal Canadiens are a lot better than people really understand. And you know what? I don't think the Lightning are physically prepared for what the Habs are going to bring. I really don't. Ooh. I know they have Pat Maroon. I know they have. I think they still have Zach Bogosian. Do they still have Bogosian, or am I dreaming?
No, Bogosian's over on Toronto now.
Toronto, right? Okay. I knew he was some. I knew some on one team that's in blue. I knew it was one of them. Well, he's been on the Blues, Lightning, and Maple Leafs. So I guess we know what his favorite color is. But they have that. But look at the way Montreal has won games. They don't always score a whole lot. I mean, they've had some games where they score a lot of goals, but they've also won a lot of really close games. And a lot of it has to do with the physicality. Now, you got to take out, obviously, the injury to John Tavares because that wasn't, obviously that was a freak accident and that should not have happened. But the amount of times that the Canadiens have just worn down their opponents, even Vegas. Vegas at times just looked worn down from playing Montreal. And the problem is that you have a team that likes to do a lot of dump and chase. And the advantage to the Montreal Canadiens is that when you do dump and chase, they can get their big boys in there to come in and slam and just hit somebody against the boards. And I think that that's something that they have to, when you talk about it from a Tampa Bay perspective, have to be prepared for. They have to be prepared for that physicality. If they're not ready for it, Montreal's just going to outwork them. Because I'm not saying that the Tampa Bay Lightning are not a team that's going to give it 100%. What I'm telling you is that the Canadiens are going to give 110% every single play. They're going to come out and give it everything every game because that's how they play. They go very north and south, and they're very much a dump and chase team, and they have a lot of young speed. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Tyler Toffoli. They have guys that are very, very good. Oh, and I just want to say, don't be surprised if guys like Eric Stahl and even Corey Perry make some pretty big contributions in this series, because they're going to need their third and fourth line to come in and make some big time plays. But the biggest thing to me is simply this: goaltending. That's the biggest matchup we have in this series.
100%,
Andre Vasilevsky against Carey Price. And when you look at Vasilevsky is a guy that you can't go low on him. You can't shoot low on him. He doesn't give up goals low. You have to go high.
You got to go top shelf on him.
You have to go high as much as you can. Now, that's easier said than done. It's not easy to necessarily do it in a split second. With Carey Price, the problem is simply this. You have to just hope that he's having an off game, because once he makes about 5 to 10 saves early on in the game, he's locked in.
Yep.
He's very much locked in. You don't see him have bad games a lot. Especially when you get into playoffs. And we've talked about Carey Price before. In a 7-game series, you have a pretty good chance with Carey Price. Even at 36, 37 years of age, he's still a very, very talented goaltender. And you look at this and you say, if Carey Price gets going, there isn't much Tampa Bay can do. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to, and Austin, you brought up a very good point. You look at Kucherov and Stamkos, they don't miss a lot of their shots, but they're going to have a lot of shots that are go right on net. They're not going to miss wide or anything. But if they're not going in, it's going to be very, very frustrating. And you don't want to – Tampa Bay has to hope they don't end up like Vegas, where one or two of their big-name guys just flat out don't show up.
Yeah.
They're just not scoring at all. Because if that happens, Montreal's got them in spades, and it's going to be a very, very short series.
That's the thing.
Right.
Going back to what you were saying about Carey Price, after he makes 5 or so saves, he's locked in, and we saw it with Vegas. Vegas was having 40-something shots on net in the games, where Montreal had like 20 or something, and it all was because Carey Price sat there, but he was locked. And it always seemed like it wasn't even our forwards that could score. Our forwards were always getting shut down. It was, for some reason, a defenseman almost every time.
Yeah, you're right.
Which was kind of concerning, because it shouldn't end up like that. It should be one of our forwards, not the defenseman. We leave the defenseman back there for a reason.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, but you also know there's an issue when Braden McNabb scores on Carey Price.
Well, yeah, it's again one of those things where it's like Carey Price is so locked in that sometimes it's a guy you don't expect that ends up scoring on him. It's usually something strange. I mean, for Braden McNabb, do you think he expected to score a goal at all?
Nope.
Let alone against Carey Price? Probably not. But one thing I did want to mention too, and I think Sportsnet shared this a little while ago, is about Cole Caulfield.
Oh.
Let me just tell you, this man has had one of the most impressive 1 years, and it's not even over yet, of any player in sports. Think about this. January 5th, he won the gold medal with Team USA at the 2021 World Junior Championships. March 16th, played in the Big Ten Championship game with Wisconsin. April 9th, named the 2021 Hobey Baker Award winner and made his pro hockey debut with the Laval Rocket. April 26th, made his NHL debut with the Montreal Canadiens. May 1st, scored his first NHL goal in overtime against the Ottawa Senators. May 24th, made his Stanley Cup playoffs debut in Game 3 against the Maple Leafs. June 28th, making his Stanley Cup final debut. And in his first 3 rounds, he's played 15 games, 4 goals, 5 assists. I'm going to be very honest with you. Wow. If it wasn't for Carey Price and even Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield would be number 1 on my list for Conn Smythe. I'm not even joking. He's actually been that big for this team.
I'm with you.
I mean, yes, to a point, but when you look at it, a lot of his contribution is because of his line mate, Nick Suzuki.
Right.
Well, yes.
But that's why I was saying if it wasn't for Price and Suzuki,
right. I have a reason to believe if Suzuki wasn't there to match his speed, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now.
Right.
If
that's another very fair point.
Yeah, no, that's very, very valid.
You have to have 2 people that are about the same speed in order to do what those 2 are doing. And I said it when Chandler Stevenson came back. I was like, finally, we have our speed back. Even just having Chandler Stevenson back, that wasn't enough speed to shut down what we needed to shut down, because his line mates in Pacioretty and Stone are not that quick.
Right.
So you have your centerman just flying, and you got your two wingers just kind of hanging back because they're not that fast.
Well, at least they're not as fast as they used to be.
Yeah, and you can't have that. You have to have. There needs to be the ability to be there with your line mate to set up for if there's a 2-on-1 or something.
You're right.
You don't want the defender to come and get a chance to break up that 2-on-1.
Right. Yeah, and that brings up my point earlier about it has to take an entire team effort, not just one or two guys. Everybody's got to help you. You got to have your wingmates help you. You got to defend your goaltender, et cetera, et cetera. You have to have all these things happen in order for you to make these type of playoff runs. And from what I've seen from the Montreal Canadiens this season, they have that formula where they can knock off Tampa Bay. And look, I'm sure everybody is probably placing a lot of bets on Montreal right now. And hey, I don't blame you. They have the formula to do it. But Tampa Bay is a high-power team I get it. They have Stamkos, they have Kucherov, they have Braden Point. I get it. But if the entire team does not help them, they are going to be screwed no matter what they do in these finals, period. But anyway, with all that being said, let's get into our official picks here. Now, I put up a poll on social media, and as we stand right now, 75% are taking Montreal. 25% are taking Tampa. You know what? I can't say I'm surprised by that result because, look, like we pointed out before, Montreal has the formula. Tampa Bay's trying to repeat, and they have the potential to do it. I get it. But before I make my pick, I'm going to have the boys here give their picks first, and I'm going to start with Austin.
I want to say the Swedes. I really do. Just because I've got that much faith in Tampa. But I'm going to say Tampa in 5.
Tampa, 5 games. Wow. Okay. 5 games. That's pretty bold there, man. I kind of like it.
And when my man Pat Maroon gets that 3-peat, okay.
I mean, look, if he 3-peats as a Stanley Cup champion, my goodness. I mean, that'll mean a whole lot. That'll mean a whole lot to his career.
I was going to say, I should bet one of you guys, but you know.
So Austin has Tampa in 5. Neil?
Montreal in 6.
Aha. I like it.
I expect that at some point, Carey Price is going to have to steal a game in Tampa. Yes. And whether that's game 1, 2, or 5, he's going to have to do that. There's going to become a moment in this series where one of these two goaltenders is going to have the game of their life. Like they're going to have to make 45, 50 saves. And I feel like it would be more likely it's going to be Carey Price simply because Tampa has a lot more offensive firepower and they're going to come at them with 40 plus shots. I mean, they're going to average something along the lines of 35, 40 shots a game in this series. So there's going to have to be a moment where Carey Price is really just standing on his head and Montreal is able to just hold on and win a close game, and that's what they need. And I will say this right now. Tampa doesn't want to go down, either be down somehow 2-0 or tied 1 game apiece going to Montreal. Because with that raucous crowd, even if it's not at full capacity, is going to be very, very interesting. Because think about it. Montreal has the entire country of Canada supporting them. Yep. Not just Montreal itself, the entire nation. Now, you could say it's U.S. versus Canada, and I mean, theoretically, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But when you look at this situation, it really is just Tampa Bay versus the entire country of Canada. That's what it is here. True. And you have 2 completely different hockey cultures. The Sunshine State, which has become title town the last couple of years, and then you have Montreal and Canada, who haven't seen a Stanley Cup in their home country in nearly 30 years.
Yep.
And that's something that is very very fascinating to me. And I believe that the Canadiens will continue to ride the wave of momentum. And I think that they are capable of winning this series. And I think if anybody is capable of slowing down, not stopping, but slowing down this high-powered offense that is the Tampa Bay Lightning, it's this Montreal Canadiens team. And I think that they're going to do it. So give me the Canadiens to win this series in 6 games.
I like it, my man. I like it. Now, our guy, the OG, Andrew Huntington, says Tampa in 6. He says he likes Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov to get the job done, and he's praying that Patrick Maroon wins his 3rd consecutive Stanley Cup, just like Austin here. So Andrew has Tampa in 6. And, of course, it's always up to me to settle everything because what else do I do on this show? But anyway, no, listen. In all seriousness, like I said before, I love this matchup. I do. I think it would mean a lot. Again, if you don't want to take the cheating away from Tampa, I get it. I'm not going to judge you for it. You do you. Me personally, I'm taking the cheating away just for the sole purpose of the fact that repeating as Cup champions for this Tampa team would mean so much to that organization, considering the fact that we've been calling them choke artists for the past 5+ years. All right?
We haven't been calling them that the last year because they got over the hump.
Well, yes. I'm saying repeating as Cup champions would mean a lot.
That whole thing about them being cheaters is gone. So if they lose this series, nobody's going to call them that. I don't expect anybody to call them that because they've already gotten over the hump.
True. Well, that's
for them
true.
To win back-to-back Stanley Cups, to win back-to-back Stanley Cups in the salary cap area is impressive, despite the fact that they're cheating. But nobody's going to talk about that, will they?
Right. Well, probably not. But anyway,
they're not the Houston Astros.
Oh God, don't get me started. That's another rant for another episode.
What's the difference?
But yeah,
my question is, what's the difference?
Exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly.
There is no difference.
There is none. But anyway, so look, me taking the cheating aside, it would mean a lot for Tampa, and from Montreal's standpoint, again. Haven't even sniffed the championship in nearly 30 years, like Neil said. It would mean a ton if the entire country of Canada won a championship, as Austin is getting goosebumps, I see, from me talking about this.
No, I'm just waiting for you to make your decision. It's good.
Well, here it is. Canadiens in 6. I'm with Neil. I think Montreal's going to get it done. I really, really do. I think they have the formula.
He just likes to jump on the bandwagon, Austin. It's fine.
But in all honest to God seriousness, I believe in this Montreal team. I really, really do. I think they can get the job done. Carey Price is finally going to get his Stanley Cup. He's going to become a first ballot Hall of Famer. I just believe in that entire team, especially their youth with Suzuki and Caulfield and all those other guys. I believe in them. And the fact that they didn't even have their coach for pretty much the whole 3rd round, and they're not even going to have him for at least the first 2 games of these finals. And with the way they're playing says a lot about the chemistry of this Montreal Canadiens team. And again, need I remind everybody, this Canadiens team barely made the playoffs.
But
the Rangers were a point ahead of them. Montreal gets in, and look where they are now. They have a chance to win their first Stanley Cup in nearly 30 years.
But need I remind you, they're also missing one of their key components. Missing Armia is going to be kind of rough.
I mean, yeah, it is, but
he was a very big boomer, we'll say.
A
boomer. But no, listen.
Like he was laying bodies out in the Vegas series. So
that's
to
true.
Lose one of your key hits, like to lose somebody that hits a lot, that's going to take a big hit. And
well, no, yeah, you definitely missed the physical presence. I 100%.
And I mean, I'm gonna say the same. I was gonna say the same thing about Vegas because we didn't play Reeves at all that series. We played him maybe once.
Right.
And so missing that key is definitely going to hurt them.
No, you make a fair point. You definitely missed that physical part of the team. I 100% get that. But to me, even without Armia, I still think the Canadiens are going to get the job done, and the country of Canada will finally be a country of champions once again. No disrespect to our country, US of A, but I just think Montreal's the better team in this series. I really, really do. Give me the Canadiens in 6 games.
Canada, we love you, but after you decide to flip a cop car, I don't think you should get the Stanley Cup.
I mean, that's do better things besides riot when you win. But I digress.
Yeah, honestly, like if you would have lost, I would have understood. But
right,
on, you won and you flipped a cop car.
Look, we're not encouraging that, but we would have understood if they lost. If you win, that pretty much means nothing.
The fans in Vegas, did they riot? No, they were just like, yeah, it's okay. We'll go get it next year. We'll go drink a few more beers. When
the Lakers won all those championships, they rioted. And that means nothing. Why were you rioting? You won.
Exactly.
But anyway.
Makes no sense.
But look, all jokes aside, Neil and I both have Montreal in 6. Austin has Tampa in 5. And our guy, Andrew Huntington, has Tampa in 6. Who do you have taking Lord Stanley back home? Let us know on Twitter and Instagram. And as a matter of fact, on all social media, at Bottomline WMCX. Follow Neil on Twitter at The MVP Show. And on Instagram at NVPQB11, and follow Austin on all social media at Mr. Taco BLP. And if you want to leave us an opinion, just be sure to use the hashtag bottomline on social media. And as always, please drop a like and a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss that episode, and subscribe on all audio listening platforms, just include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. And Austin is shaking his head, telling you to pretty much not do anything to this podcast, but I digress.
I mean, I could be Neil and tell him to do it or not.
I mean, they don't have to.
Exactly.
It's a free country. They're allowed to do whatever they want.
On that note, that'll wrap it up for us. Neil and I have Canadians in 6. Austin's got Tampa in 5. This is going to be a fun finals, at least to Neil and I. For Neil Pilopiano and for Mr. Taco, I'm Jimmy Fedizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast, and we will see you in the next episode. Peace and enjoy the Stanley Cup Finals.
Come on, Pepper, get 3.